Hey, good morning, everyone. My name is Don Curry, the Executive Director of the North Bay District Multicultural Center. Those who were here yesterday saw me often enough jumping up and down the mic. But we do have a number of new people here today. So we did have about 96 people registered for the conference total, and about 1/3 of that group left after yesterday. About 1/3 is coming in. So we're about 70 some odd people are supposed to be here today, same as yesterday. We have about 1/3 of the audience today is different from yesterday. So we may be repeating a couple of things that were mentioned yesterday just for the benefit of those who were not here. Just want to mention one thing that at the end of yesterday we were brainstorming at the tables and coming up with priority and project priorities for the North. And LJ spent all night tabulating that, and it's available at just where she is walking by that desk. She's pointing to it. There we are. So you can pick that up, the results of the roundtable discussions at the end of the day yesterday. It's a document that looks like this. Today is a very different format, and we're going to talk about that in a second. Just want to clarify a few things that I think there was some ambiguity yesterday for the benefit of our colleagues from Southern Ontario. May not be aware of the geography of the North. So I thought I'd do a little quick geography lesson. Because we were talking about yesterday, North Bay was talking about attracting newcomers from the Greater Toronto area who would be interested in working in the North. I think Mayor referred to it as poaching. And Marla Tremblay came back and said, no, we're not poaching, we're bringing people who are underemployed up to the North where they can utilize their skills. So that makes a lot of sense for North Bay and probably Sudbury, which are very close to Toronto. North Bay and Sudbury have 4-lane highways going to Toronto, which are almost finished. So it's a very quick drive to Toronto. Not so much for Timmins and Sault Ste. Marie and Thunder Bay. If you're driving to Timmins from Toronto, it's an 8-hour trip. If you're driving to Sault Ste. Marie, it's about an 8-hour trip. If you're driving to Thunder Bay, well, you don't even want to think about it. Thunder Bay is a lot closer to Duluth, Minnesota, or Winnipeg than it is to Toronto. So not all the 5 cities are the same when we talk about looking at Toronto as a possible place to recruit. So as I mentioned, the format is changing quite a bit for the next 2 days. This is the Welcoming Communities Initiative portion of our conference. Yesterday was Conference Board of Canada and City of North Bay. So I'm very pleased to introduce Vicki Esses from the University of Western Ontario, who is the co-chair of the Welcoming Communities Initiative.
So as Don mentioned, the next 2 days are being put on by the Welcoming Communities Initiative, and I thought I'd just start off by just saying a few words about who we are. So some of you are part of us, some of you know a lot about the Welcoming Communities Initiative, some of you may not. And what we are is a collaborative, multidisciplinary, right now province-wide initiative, and we're a network of university and community partners. The goal of the Welcoming Community Initiative is to develop, test, and assist in the implementation of strategies to promote the settlement of immigrants and minorities in cities across Ontario. As some of you will know, we are planning to broaden to other provinces. We put in a partnership letter of intent application to the Social Sciences and Humanities Research Council to actually expand to Atlantic region and the Prairie provinces. It makes a lot of sense. There's a lot of interesting comparative work that can be done there. And we should hear about that because people have been asking me about this. We should hopefully hear by end of April or so whether we were successful. If you would like to know more about the Welcoming Communities Initiative, I really encourage you to take a look at our website, which is easy to remember. It's www.welcomingcommunities.ca. We also have, for example, PowerPoints from previous events posted there. description of the projects that we're working on at the moment. We work with a lot of different players, so you may be saying, what does it mean to be part of the Welcoming Communities Initiative? We really are committed to the collaborative nature of it, and the fact that it is community and university. So the Welcoming Communities Initiative includes researchers from 18 universities across Ontario. If we expand to prairies and the Atlantic region, it will be something like over 40 universities, I think close to 50 universities involved. These are researchers who really are doing community-based research. And we have a lot of community partners, including immigrant-serving organizations, municipalities, universal service providers such as United Ways, government departments. We work with school boards, so there are school boards involved. We work with businesses and employment associations. We work with national associations and also with national research organizations. For example, Environics is a member of the Welcoming Communities Initiative and does some of the work, partners with us on some of the work that we do. So what I wanted to do now is just say a few words about the origins of this conference. You know, sometimes these things happen in a way that you might not expect. And for those of you who were not involved, we held a meeting in October in Ottawa of all the local immigration partnerships. And at that meeting, we were actually approached by members of some of the northern communities, and we were asked whether we could put together an agenda for northern communities for the future. And what would be the strategies that would be unique for northern communities. So we met, we had a breakfast to talk about this, and what we decided was that a meeting like this would be the first step. So it's really gratifying to see everybody here and to have this meeting, to really discuss what is our agenda going to be and how do we move forward working with northern communities to set in place practices, but also research to support those practices moving forward. So the idea for the next 2 days is to begin to shape an agenda for moving forward in northern communities. Some of the questions we want to address include who else we might bring to the table, how to focus our discussion of northern issues, what are the priority issues we should be addressing, what information and research is needed, what research is already in place, we don't want to reinvent the wheel, and what research do we need to conduct in order to contribute to this development. So how do we work together in order to promote a strategy for northern communities in terms of attraction and retention? Before we get started, this is a very hands-on meeting, and before we get started, I just want to make a couple of comments or instructions. First of all, everybody should feel free to speak in either English or French during the day, so if people would like to speak in French, we encourage you to do so. The format is really what we might call a working meeting, so we will have speakers at the beginning of panels to set the context. We will have panelists who do very brief presentations, and then discussion among the panelists and with us as a group. Okay, so really it is a roll-up-your-sleeves working meeting. We encourage everybody to participate. Because we don't all know each other yet, when you are first speaking, please introduce yourself very briefly, just so that we get to know each other. Okay, hopefully we're going to be working together a lot in the future, and this is a way to get started. And then tomorrow, as you know, are these hands-on working groups to really get into what is the agenda, what is the research we need, and really coming up with concrete plans. Okay, so without further ado, I will now pass it on to the first panel to get started.